Hashem. Okay. Everyone, welcome to Kodel Kol Shiva, a partnership with Breslov.org, and of course, Yeshiva Torah Shimon. Okay. Okay, this Shabbos is Shabbos is Shabbos Ki Tavo. Unbelievable. We're mamish getting ready. We're mamish getting ready for Rosh Hashanah. Well, actually, in 2 weeks from today will be Rosh Hashanah. Right? Wednesday is the second day Rosh Hashanah. Right? So it's amazing. Okay, so we'll talk a little bit outside on the parsha itself. There's so many beautiful mitzvahs that we have in the parsha. The most beautiful mitzvah, of course, is the mitzvah Bikurim. The mitzvah Bikurim. So the parsha is it's a pivotal moment in Sefer Devarim. And it tells over the history of the Jewish people. Its name is the name of the parsha is Ki Tavo because we're about to enter into the land, right? And it speaks of it's filled of both promises and the opposite if we don't do what we're supposed to do. Okay, but Hashem gives us instructions through Moshe Rabbeinu. The parsha opens up, of course, with the idea with the Bikurim, the first fruits. And the first fruits is such a beautiful, beautiful mitzvah. I mean, you think about it. There's a farmer that's working so hard that he plows and he plants. And then after so much time, he's watering and pruning and taking care of his plants, and so right away finally he sees the first fruits. He can have a te'ena, it could be a fig. It could be a rimon. It could be a pomegranate. It can be a date. It can be olives, right? All of the things that are written. Okay, any of the things that he has, wheat, right? The first wheat. But really, it was the fruits. Mostly was fruits, and the olives. So what the farmer would do is he would take those first fruits, and they're so precious, right? After so much work, after he worked on them so hard, and he would take those fruits, and he would tie a bendel around them. He would tie a little string around them in order to know that those were the first fruits. And then he would collect his first fruit. And he would place them, like the pasuk says, batena, in a basket, and he would take his basket up to Yerushalayim, to the Beis Hamikdash. It was a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful procession. He speaks in the Gemara speaks so much about it, where it was such a festive time in Yerushalayim when they saw that the people were coming with their baskets, how they would close the stores and the people would all go out, and there were bands, and they would lead them in, and it was just a special, special time to be able to see that. So one of the mitzvah Hashem, we're going to have the Beis Hamikdash. We'll be able to have the mitzvah Bikurim again. So we have now. So the farmer would have to make a short speech, right? He would have to make a short speech when he came there, where he would tell over the story of the Jewish people. He would say that our fathers were wandering, and we went down to Mitzrayim, and the Egyptians were not too nice to us. And of course, we know, and we cried out to Hashem, and through all of that, the Kadosh Baruch Hu brought us into the Holy Land. He brought us into the Holy Land. And this is really it's a very important lesson. That for us to realize how the farmer isn't just thankful for his harvest, he connects his personal success back to the entire history of the Jewish people, which is amazing, right? In other words, you would think that he's celebrating his own success, but he's saying no. It's because of our forefathers, what they went through that allowed me to be in this land. And he remembers that, and that's such a special thing that he's able to remember that. That's something very okay. Really having the gratitude, okay. And he doesn't take credit for himself, right? It was a long collective history, and a long chain of events that orchestrated this thing that was done through HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Okay, following that, this section of giving of the Bikurim, the parsha takes a dramatic and challenging turn. Moshe lays out for us the brachas, and Moshe Rabbeinu lays out for us the klolos. Unfortunately, right? If we're not gonna fulfill the Torah, unfortunately, what's going to happen to us? I mean, we know now that it's brought down in Chazal that the first klolos that we had in the Torah, Parshat Ki Tavo, now we have it over here again. So the first klolos and the first klolos we were referring to the first Beis Hamikdash. The second klolos are referring to the second Beis Hamikdash. I mean, and if you read through the klolos, they're so very difficult to read. Let's put it that way. They're very, very, very difficult to read. But again, we have to realize that HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave us the Torah, and we're privileged to be able to fulfill HaKadosh Baruch Hu's mitzvahs. Okay. The Tochacha, known as the rebuke, right? The Tochacha, HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives us these things. When we turn away from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, we turn away from Him, we get these terrifying list of curses. Okay, this part of the Torah can be difficult to read, and it's harsh and explicit. Of course, we know. Why does the Torah present this so directly? So we have to understand that really HaKadosh Baruch Hu is not vengeful. He doesn't punish us. He doesn't want to punish us. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is the Av HaRachaman. But we have to understand that HaKadosh Baruch Hu does things to us to wake us up. He does things, He wants to wake us up. And unfortunately, He does something slight, right? Like the Gemara says, you put your hand in your pocket and you try to take out one coin, and you get the wrong coin. So the Gemara says you should really look over your actions and figure out what you did wrong. And people ask, and all the Sfarim ask, what does it mean? Why did I do anything wrong? Because I got the wrong coin. The emes is really we're supposed to get what we want. And it sounds strange, right? We're supposed to get what we want. However, because of our shortcomings, we don't. And if we take the sign from HaKadosh Baruch Hu with such subtle things, so then HaKadosh Baruch Hu doesn't have to send us all the other things. Right? It doesn't have to send us those things, but each thing He sends us another one, just to wake us up, because He wants to help us to come back to do tshuva. In other words, HaKadosh Baruch Hu is not doing this to punish us. It's not a punishment. He's trying to wake us up so we can do tshuva. That's what it's all about. Okay, so that's something very, very important. It's something very, very, very important for us to understand this idea that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is not trying to punish us. He's actually trying to help us to make tshuva. That's what it's all about. And then we're in Chodesh Elul, and all the Baal HaTanya was very big on this idea that the Hamelech is Basodeh. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is accessible now. We can come to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. We can approach HaKadosh Baruch Hu with tshuva right now. Before we get to the Yom Hadin, it's almost like meeting. A person has a trial against him, right? He has a trial against him, and he goes out to the golf field, right? He goes out to the golf course, and he meets the judge. And he meets the judge that's going to judge his case at the golf field. And he talks to him. And he explains to him his situation. And when he comes to court, so the judge already has a little compassion for the guy. He knows him a little bit. We're friends. We know each other. So that's how it is with the Rebbeinu Shalom. Right now, if we come to HaKadosh Baruch Hu now, these days are so precious. And if we come back to HaKadosh Baruch Hu today, and we talk to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and we say, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, I know I did this wrong this year, and I made a mistake, and I'm sorry. Please, Hashem, help me that I don't do this wrong again the next time. Please, Hashem, help me. Help me, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And when we turn to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, we ask Him to help us, that is the greatest nachas that HaKadosh Baruch Hu has from us. For example, we're learning in the morning, we're learning in Hilchas Birchas HaShachar, we're learning this beautiful idea, we're actually learning in Hilchas Netilas Yadayim, we're up to the Hilchas Netilas Yadayim, the Seuda, where we brought today, we were learning this beautiful idea where when Amalek came to attack us, right? Amalek came to attack us, and it would say, "Kol ha'nechasholim acharecha," all of those that were straggling behind. We know that we know that those Jews that didn't believe in the protection of the Anani HaKavod, right? Those Jews that didn't believe in the protection of the Anani HaKavod, of course, didn't have the protection of the Anani HaKavod. And it says that they were poilate, they were thrown out from the Anani HaKavod. But then Moshe Rabbeinu with his compassion, his tefillah, Moshe Rabbeinu davened, and of course Moshe Rabbeinu brought them back, because Moshe Rabbeinu is known as the Rabban Shal Yisrael. He's known as the Rebbe of Klal Yisrael, and Moshe Rabbeinu is the Roya Neman of Klal Yisrael. He's the faithful shepherd of Klal Yisrael. This is Moshe Rabbeinu. So when Moshe Rabbeinu put up his hands, that was just a symbol. It was only a symbol when he put up his hands. It wasn't his hands. It was a remez. He put up his hands. What was that? But it made us look towards Shemayim. We looked towards HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And then at that time, there was those Jews that ran back. They ran away. They were running back. So what did HaKadosh Baruch Hu do? Send snakes. He sent fiery snakes, and it was biting them. So what did HaKadosh Baruch Hu do? Say to Moshe Rabbeinu, make a copper snake. Make a copper snake that has stripes on it, right? The copper snake, like the medical department, the medical has today. Where did they get that idea? The snake with the stripe. That was Moshe Rabbeinu. So the Gemara asks, really? Is it the snake that decides the life and death of a person? Is it the snake? Is it the actual snake? Or is it the snake that Moshe Rabbeinu made, that this is a copper snake? Is what's determining life and death? No, of course not. But he was supposed to hang it up on the nace, on the pole. He was supposed to hang it up high. So when we looked at it, we remembered HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and that's what gave us the forgiveness. So here we have these curses. We have the curses in the Parsha, right? But we don't need that. We don't have to deal with the curses if we turn to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And it's the same way for us today. We have all the different things going on. I know the Jews in New York are petrified of the upcoming election for the mayor. Okay, really, HaKadosh Baruch Hu is trying to wake us up, and we have to realize that it's only the Rabbeinu Shalom. We know that there's going to come a time where there's Ein Laimi L'Shayin Ela Avinu Shabashamayim, right? There's going to be a time that we have no one to rely on. And when Klal Yisrael comes to that time, that there's no one to rely on, I mean, pretty much we have that now in the world, right? Right? It said that there's going to be a time that there's going to be Shivim Ze'evim, there will be 70 wolves, and around the 70 wolves there's going to be one little teleh, there's going to be one little sheep. That's us today. We have to rely on the Rebbeinu Shalom, and if we do, then of course HaKadosh Baruch Hu will bring us all of the brachas. So the main important thing is we see in the parsha we have to be thankful. Thank HaKadosh Baruch Hu for everything, and don't take credit for it for ourselves. If a person is sick and they get healed, it's not the doctor. We make the Asher Yotzar, and we say in the Asher Yotzar, we say that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is the Roifei Chol Basar Mafli Lasois. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is the ultimate healer, and He does it in the most wondrous way. It's the Rebbeinu Shalom. Thank the Rebbeinu Shalom. This is really pretty much what we hear in this Shabbos, and we're getting prepared, of course, for Rosh Hashanah. And Kisisa comes always this time. It's for us to reflect on our lives. Where are we in our lives? Are we living our lives as a life of bracha, Or are we chas v'sholem living in our lives in the lives of klala chas v'sholem? And if we are, we can make the change. Turn to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And that's one of the greatest ways we can come back to Hashem. Now in this parsha, so we know there's a famous pasuk, Tachas asher lo yavadeta b'simcha v'tuv levav, right? That we didn't serve HaKadosh Baruch Hu with great joy. We had so much, but we didn't serve HaKadosh Baruch Hu with great joy. And that's a very big problem. That's a very big problem. You know, the Holy Arizal, he didn't live very long. But what he accomplished in his short life is remarkable. And there were other Torah scholars at that time, and they didn't understand. How did he accomplish so much as a young man? And you know what he told them? When I do a mitzvah b'simcha. I emphasize on putting simcha, joy, into my mitzvahs. Now let me tell you something. It doesn't take that much more effort. It certainly doesn't cost anything to realize what you're doing. That you're doing a mitzvah that's going to give you ultimate success, ultimate reward for all of eternity in the next world. We're putting on our tefillin in the morning. You're wearing your talis. You're wearing tzitzis all day. To realize, wait a second, every moment I'm wearing these tzitzis, I'm acquiring another mitzvah. It's another mitzvah deraisa. I'm putting on my tefillin. Do I realize this is the pe'er? And if I have the simcha, when I'm doing that, when I realize how special it is, when I realize how special the mitzvah is, it brings a person to simcha. So of course, this is based on in Likutei Moharan, a lesson based on lesson Chav Daled. It's a fascinating lesson where Rabbi Nachman brings this idea. He brings the psukim that connects to us, that connects the idea of the lack of joy. When you have a lack of joy, it brings on curses. Now let's understand this. Rabbi Nachman interprets this verse not just for a reason for punishment, chas v'sholem. It's not punishment, but as a profound insight into what we can accomplish spiritually of a person. He teaches the source of all curses and misfortunes in this world is because of a lack of joy. And what is the core of this teaching? So Rabbi Nachman interprets the verse not only just for the reason for punishment, but as a profound insight into into Yiddishkeit and the state of a person. He teaches us the source of all curses and misfortunes in this world is based on is the cause of a lack of joy. Unbelievable that we're not living our lives with joy. The great mitzvah of joy. Rabbi Nachman says it's in Tinyana Chav Gimel Chav Daled, the two lessons where what is the greatest mitzvah that's not an actual mitzvah, and what is the greatest aveira that's not an actual aveira? The greatest mitzvah that's not a mitzvah is really simcha. It's not a mitzvah to be besimcha, even though we say mitzvah gedolah liyos besimcha, right? The whole world sings that. You know where that comes from? Likutei Moharan. In all the yeshivas they sing mitzvah gedolah liyos besimcha, right? That's a quote from Rabbi Nachman. It's not found in Shas. You won't find it anywhere. It's a quote from Rabbi Nachman. For this reason, because if you have simcha, it's going to lead you to do everything right. It's going to drive you. It's going to drive you to do more mitzvahs. It's going to drive you to have much more success. It's fascinating if we only realize how important, it is to do a mitzvah b'simcha. So the Rebbe goes on to explain the great mitzvah of happiness. This is the most famous and fundamental teachings of Rabbi Nachman. He explains that atzvus, which is sadness, is the source of all negativity, both spiritual and physical. When a person is sad, their prayers are not accepted. How about that? If a person is sad, his tefillas are not being accepted. Could you imagine that? You go daven, and the person's upset, and the person is not happy about his situation. If because the person is not happy about his situation, his tefillas are not accepted. How about that?
Unless you're in a minyan.
You what?
If you're in a minyan, it will be accepted though, right?
It's a question. No. What you're referring to, Mordechai, is like this. If you're davening by yourself, right? If you're davening by yourself, so then in Shemayim they say, who is this fella that's saying these words? Who is this guy? Let's take a look into this guy, right? We never want the spotlight on us. We don't want a spotlight on us. We like to be, just be part of the group. So when we have a minyan, and we learned this idea, right? When you get 10 people together, you're connecting heaven to earth. Why? Because then you have the 10 spheres, right? We learned this. Remember, we have the Keter, and we have the Chachma and Bina. Chesed, Gevurah, Tferes, Netzach, Chod, Yesod, and Malchus is 10. The upper one is, of course, the Keter in the upper world. The lower world that we're in over here, that's the Malchus, right? Malchus is in this world. So when we make a minyan together, we're bringing it. It's this kashrus. It's bringing of the Darei Mala together with the Darei Mata. We're joining them together. But here, like you were saying, if you're at the minyan and the person is focusing on joy, and that's why after every Breslov a minyan, we'll always have a rikud. We always have a dance. After every Breslov a minyan, in the morning and after Ma'ariv, there's always a beautiful dance because we want to show our simcha. We want to show our joy. It's an integral thing to show our joy. But now again, if you want, we all daven, you're spending the time, you want your tefillas to be answered. Rabbi Nachman also says that any time that you have a truthful word, you could say a truthful word. Whatever word that may be, you could say it be'emes. It's a word that you say be'emes in tefillah that has such power that it can lift up all the other tefillahs. It's so powerful when we daven to our Kodesh Baruch Hu and we realize what is. And how do we come to do this? It's very simple. When you're davening, try to translate in your mind the words that you're saying. Make sure you understand them. And then you come to some words, you go, wow, you become engrossed in the word. You become uplifted in that word. And that's the most amazing thing. But again, atzvus is a terrible, terrible, terrible thing.
Okay, but what if I am a poor man or brokenhearted?
Yes. A poor man that's brokenhearted. Okay, so you're saying if a person's a leiv nishbar v'nitke alikim loy tivza, right? If a person has a broken heart, he's a broken-hearted person. HaKadosh Baruch Hu doesn't look bad down at the person. Okay, of course, and that's special. And don't get me wrong, that's very special. The person has a broken heart, but he can still have joy that he feels that he has a broken heart. That's a level. It's a high level. It's a high level. Right? If a person's an arrogant person, he doesn't realize he feels there's nothing wrong with him. Right? There are people like that. I don't know why I need to have Yom Kippur. What do I do wrong? What did I do wrong? I don't do anything wrong. There are people like that. And they feel they don't make any mistakes. That's arrogance. That's terrible. Arrogance is terrible. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, there's an expression, this town ain't big enough for the two of us, right? This town ain't big enough for the two of us. HaKadosh Baruch Hu says that there's no room in this world for the Baal Gaiva and HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Isn't that amazing? You know, there was once a Rav that was visiting a town. There was once a Rav visiting a town, and he was given a choice of 2 homes he could stay in. Listen to this. 2 homes he could stay in. One home he could stay in, he had a person that was a big Erlich Yid. This guy was very careful of all the meat that he bought. He only bought glat, and the milk that he bought was only Chalav Yisrael, and everything was so beautiful. Everything was great, but there was only one problem. He was a Baal Kas. He got angry very much. He got very angry, And then the other guy is a happy guy. In his house, the kashrus is okay. It's all right. It's not the greatest. He doesn't necessarily always buy Chalav Yisrael. And maybe there's not as much tznius in the house. And they asked the Rav, which house would he like to be in? He says, I'll take the second one. They asked him, why? He says, because I want the Rebbeinu Shalom to be with me. And then if I have a happy guy, a happy house, there's simcha in that house, then I have the Rebbeinu Shalom there. But I don't want to be in a house that there's anger, and people are, you go into some houses, it's almost like it's hard to stand on, it's almost like you're stepping on eggshells, you have to be very, very careful. This is not what the Rebbeinu Shalom wants, so that's okay. So here, the Rebbe explains like this: when a person receives the blessings, but he does not, he receives the blessings, but he does not serve HaKadosh Baruch Hu with a leiv sholem, with a happy heart, with a leiv simcha. They are all essentially taking the blessings for granted and separating themselves from the divine, from the source of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. They're separating themselves from Hashem. That's not good. That's not good at all. And then that causes a separation, and the person he feels a void. And when he feels that void, he doesn't feel connected to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. He allows the curses and all the misfortunes coming into his life. So the main thing is always to be grateful to Hashem. Thank HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Okay, so this is a very, very, very important understanding. I mean, if you read through the curses, they're very, very, very difficult. They're very, very difficult. But if a person's going to realize and serve HaKadosh Baruch Hu b'simcha, that's the greatest thing that he can do. Okay, I want to learn one piece here. I have a few different things. This morning I was actually seeing, I was sitting in shul, and somebody had this sefer, which is a fascinating sefer. I learned it years ago. I didn't see it in a long time. The name of the sefer is B'nai Machshava Tova. This sefer was written by the Piazetzner Rebbe in the Warsaw Ghetto. In the Warsaw Ghetto. Could you imagine? He was the Rav of the Warsaw Ghetto. Could you imagine that? They made him the Rav. The Piazetzner Rebbe was the Rav of the Warsaw Ghetto. What he went through in those years, what he went through in that ghetto, what he saw all the murder, and he saw all the atrocities going on. But the Rebbe wrote the most beautiful words. And not only did he write the most beautiful words, he put his teachings in a milk jug, and he buried the milk jug in the Warsaw Ghetto. And he wrote, and he put a note in this milk jug with his ksavim, that anybody that finds this and prints this, I'll be very, very grateful for you, and I'll go before the Rebbeinu Shalom and I'll plead your case for you. And as it was, there was an American soldier that found this jug, and he brought it to the chaplain, to the rabbi that was there, the chaplain, the U.S. chaplain that was there, and he showed it to him. So the chaplain took those, and of course the Sfarim were printed. So here's one of the teachings. We're going to learn one of the teachings from the Holy Piazetzner Rebbe, Hashem Yimkam Dama, Mamish. He was Mamish a tzaddik nifla. Listen to these words. Hapasik miyasar es Yisrael v'am avatishkach kel mechoil alecha. Ze ikra hasiva shemisrach ekes es ha'odam milalikusa. When a person separates himself and he forgets the kel, he forgets Hashem. that brings him, that takes him away. That takes him away from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Look at this, and he says now, B'tfilasei shel harav Elimelech, the Rebbe Rav Melech from Lezhensk. Mitzvah Hashem, we have a schus next week. We're going to be traveling. We're going to be traveling to Krakow next week on our way to Uman for Rosh Hashanah. And from Krakow, we're going to spend the night in Lezhensk. And we're going to daven Neitz Mitzvah Hashem by the Rebbe Rav Melech. Teimach Shevaiseinu Zakat Selula Ubrura V'Chazaka. So the Na'im Melech says that our thoughts should be Zakat, Selula, clear, lucid. Ubrura, very, very clear. V'Chazaka, and they should be strong. V'Chol Ish Yodeya Shebe'im Haya Roya Be'einav Mamish Eichu Oimed Lifnei Hashem. If that Jew would only realize that he's standing in front of Hashem wherever you go, like Shulchan Aruch says, Shivisi Hashem L'negdi Summit. If a person would be Messiah that in his mind, that he's standing in front of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Lo haya lo shum yetzer hara, he would have no yetzer hara. Let me ask you something. Would a person think of looking at something he shouldn't if his wife was standing there? Would a person think of speaking lashon hara about somebody if that person was standing there? Would the person think of eating something not right if his rav was standing there? Anything that the yetzer hara chappers us with. Would anyone think of doing something wrong if they would realize? So he says like this: if you would recognize this, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is mamish with you, what yetzer hara? What yetzer hara is the person going to have? Adarabba, es kol nafshay v'chol nishmasay, his whole nefesh, his whole neshama haya maitzi b'diburim kedoshim lifnei Hashem ad sheyispatel kulay v'yichlol al yedeyim b'yizbarach. The person would talk to the Rabbeinu Shalom, realize he's with Hashem. If you're with Hashem, you can talk to the Rabbeinu Shalom. Right? We were talking about this idea. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is found basada. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, now you can find Hashem in the field. If we would realize this, and we could talk to Hashem, v'lo zu af zu, shebeshah, sherak, shedate machshavte chazak b'Hashem, gam kein margish kol echad ba'atzmai umevatel hayetzar v'kol arusai sheme pafa b'chushai gufai b'telim oz la'Hashem. Everything of his whole body would be connected to HaKadosh Baruch Hu in such a burning way. Look at this. Look at these words. Look at these words. Don't we realize how special that feeling? Remember, how was it last Yom Kippur? How was it the year Yom Kippur before when you come to Ne'ilah? And they're saying, Kol Nidrei. Right? And they start this Kol Nidrei. Or you're coming to the Ne'ilah, you're coming to Ne'ilah and they say the Ashrei. And you're starting to say and you're starting to eat Ne'ilah. What's that feeling that a Jew has? That closeness that we have. But the Rebbe is saying, you could do this any time. We all do this. We all feel it on Yom Kippur. But why can't we do that more often? Is a person going to have a bad thought? An immoral thought? When he's standing and with his talus on his head, it said Kol Nidre. Is the person going to have a thought of business? Oh, I'm going to cheat this guy. I'm going to do this wrong. I'm going to say this. No, we don't have any such thoughts. We're thinking we're only one with Hashem. We're one with the Rabbeinu Shalom. Beis Kol Nidre V'Nila Bitul Kol Taiva Hira V'Rotzein Loi Toi. Mipnei shemachshavtoi bara chazaka oz b'Hashem. And why is that? Because our mind is focused on Hashem. The question is, can we focus our minds on Hashem more regularly? More regularly. Kol ikar chisaron shel nefilas ha'adam hu v'tishkach es el mechayil lecha. He's forgetting HaKadosh Baruch Hu. He's forgetting Hashem. V'nafal memachshavtei v'eina izaka bara v'chazaka tamid k'may b'yom kippur v'chadayma. So of course his mind's not going to be if you forget the Rebbeinu Shalom. When you're in shul on Yom Kippur, of course you remember Hashem. But can I ask you a question? Didn't you say today, and won't we say again tonight, Miloi chol haaretz k'voday? Right? By Mincha we say the Kedusha, we say, Kadosh, Kadosh, Kadosh. Hashem Tzavokis, Miloi chol haaretz k'voday. What does that mean? Miloi chol haaretz k'voday. Hashem fills the entire world with His glory. Now, if HaKadosh Baruch Hu fills His world with the glory, that means anywhere you are in the world, you're with the Rebbeinu Shalom. So let me ask you, what is the difference between where you are today on a Wednesday, on a Thursday, on a Sunday, whatever it is, or it's Yom Kippur? What is the difference? You're in front of Hashem now, you're in front of Hashem on Yom Kippur. The difference is our mind is connected to Hashem on Yom Kippur. Our minds are connected to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Why does Shulchan Aruch start off and saying, Shivisi Hashem L'negdi Samet? That's a prerequisite for you to follow Shulchan Aruch is what? Shivisi Hashem L'negdi Samet. Remembering Hashem is with me all the time. Remember that wherever I go with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. A Jew is never alone. He's always with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Sinafim machshavtei ve'eina izaka bar v'chazak k'may b'yom kippurim k'dayma v'afilu im yirtza ish l'chazek u'l'tzgaber es datei machshavtei la yochel l'istamid kach b'machshavtei zman yoysa orach. But he said, look, the truth is we're human beings and we get distracted, so we can't do this all the time. But remember, when you do this, it lifts everything up. V'kivin shekain kol avodaseinu tzricha liyos eich lechazek es machshavaseinu la'archiva lechazoka u'lechlala u'lakshora la'Hashem. Remember that our whole point, our whole avodah, is what? To strengthen our thought, to strengthen our clarity, and to bind ourselves with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shaloi rak bizmanim shel b'Rosh Hashanah u'b'shas hatekiyas. Not only Rosh Hashanah, when you hear the tekiyas, which is a remez, right? You're hearing the tekiyas a remez. It's a remez. But you feel something so special when you hear the tekiyah. We could do this all the time. If you realize when anyone's speaking to you, that person speaking to you is designed by Hashem. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is busy all day long making shidduchim. He's making matches all day long. HaKadosh Baruch Hu had your wife tell you this. HaKadosh Baruch Hu had your mother tell you that. HaKadosh Baruch Hu had your sister tell you this, and your brother tell you, your son tell you this. It doesn't matter. Your boss told you this. Your employee yelled at you. Whatever, it doesn't matter. It's all demonstrated by Hashem. If you could recognize Hashem in everything that you do, that's the ticket. That's our success. Then you never come like we come to the Klolos in the Parsha, because we're always remembering HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And all HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants us to remember Him. What a beautiful hachana for Rosh Hashanah. What a beautiful hachana for the Yemei Hadin. What a beautiful hachana for Chodesh Elul. To understand this. Shaloi rak b'zmanim shel Rosh Hashanah b'shas hatkiyas v'yom kippurim v'kedayma rakam tomid tiyeh borach hazaka kshura u'kedayisha. We have to constantly be connected to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. I thought this is something so special, something so beautiful. It's so simple to understand. Why am I clear on Yom Kippur? Because my mind is clear. I'm not thinking of all the other things. My mind is not inundated with all the other things. So I could think clearly. Now let's take a quick look at a Torah from Rabbi Nachman, and then we'll finish. I guess we'll finish with this. Here we go. Look at these words here. Pasuk in the Torah, pasuk in the Chumash. Here, look at the words. Hayoim hazeh. Listen to the pasuk. Okay, this is in Parshat Ki Tavo. This is in Chaf Vav, and this is pasuk Tes Zay. So this is chapter 26, and this is stanza 16. 16. Hayoim hazeh Hashem Elokecha mitzavecha la'asos. It's today. Hayoim. Hayoim hazeh. Today. Today is HaKadosh Baruch Hu talking to you. When is today? Every day. When is today? Every moment of every day. Hayoim. Es hachukim ha'ela. These ordinances. V'es ha'mishpatim, and these laws. V'shamarta v'asisa oisa. And you'll watch them, you'll heed them, and you'll perform them. B'chol levavecha u'b'chol nafshecha. And you'll perform them with all of your heart. Chazal tell us why did it say levavecha with two bases? Because you'll serve HaKadosh Baruch Hu with the Yetzer HaTov and the Yetzer Hara. Anytime we get angry about something, we get angry at people. Don't get angry at people. Don't get angry at people. Get angry at things that the Torah wants us to get angry at. Don't get angry at things. Don't do things. Don't use the Yetzer Hara. If you have a burning desire for immorality, turn that burning desire into Torah. Use the burning desire. It's energy. It's energy. Use it. Ubechol nafshecha. Put your whole soul into everything. Look what the Rebbe says here. Hayoim hazeh Hashem Elokecha mitzavecha la'asos. This is a Torah in Likutei Moran. Es hachukim ha'ela. Hayoim im b'koiloi tishmo. We know these words. If only today you'll listen to the call. If you listen to the call, every day there's a bas call that goes out and it says, turn to me, Hashem. Do tshuva. There's a bas call every day that goes out. There's a heavenly announcement that goes out daily, and it says, everyone do tshuva. Hayoim b'koiloi tishmo. Zeh klal gadol ba'avodas Hashem. This is a very, very great principle with serving Hashem. Shelo yasam leneged einav ki im oisai hayoim. You know, the problem is with us. The problem with us is that what we always think, today, it's not convenient. Tomorrow I'll serve Hashem. Tomorrow. Today I have business meetings, so I can't really serve Hashem. It'll be tomorrow. It won't be this year, next year. It won't be next year, it'll be 5 years I'm retiring. Oh, in 5 years I'll be able to serve Hashem. That's what we think. No. I have today. Look what he says. Whether this is regarding your parnasa as well, people are also lackadaisical when it comes to their parnasa. I'll call that client tomorrow. I'll make the meeting for tomorrow. I'll worry about it tomorrow. I'll do that tax return tomorrow. I'll file that motion in court tomorrow. I'll do whatever it is tomorrow. No, the Rebbe is telling you, if you have an opportunity to do something today, do it today. And whatever you need to do. Hey, I don't know about you, but who says we have tomorrow? Who said? No one gets we don't have a contract with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. No one knows. So I have to make the best that I can for today. These are the days of Elul. These are special, special days. To make the best of these days. This day and this hour. Listen to this. When a person says, I had enough of this, you take these words to heart. You take these words to heart. You take the words that we just read from the Piazetzna. Why am I not thinking of Hashem more in my life? Why am I not being more connected to Hashem? Why am I only able to do this on Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, Kol Nidre, Ne'ilah? Why? Why is it only then? Because my mind is clear. I'm thinking. Why are we reading this parsha now? Why? It's not stam that we're reading this parsha now. We're reading these ideas now because these are ideas to bring us to our success. So now, a Jew says, okay, you're right. I take it to heart. You're right. I want to start serving Hashem. I want to start thinking of Hashem more. I want to be more besimcha. Whatever he takes on. Anything we take on is special. Whoa, this is a very, 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 very heavy load. This is a burden for me to take this on. What are you saying, Rabbi? You mean I have to think of Hashem? The rabbi, okay, he was a great rabbi, the Piazetzner Rebbe. He was the Rebbe of the Warsaw Ghetto. Of course he was great, but how am I going to think of Hashem all the time? How am I going to do that? I can't think of things straight. I can't do that. He's going to say this is a very, very tall order. But if you think to yourself, wait a second, you say to yourself, hey buddy, I only have today. This is the only day I have. It says in the Parsha, we just read it, I only have today. Then it won't be any burden to the guy. It won't be any burden. He won't push it off to another day because, hey, you only have that day. So how can I push it off to another day? Lema mochar etmol. No, aschil. Mochar aschil. Tomorrow I'll begin. Mochar aspalel. Oh, today I'll just mumble the words. I'll get them through today. Tomorrow I'm going to daven. Oh, tomorrow is going to be a good feeling. Well, hey, what about today? It says, Hayoim Azeh, Hashem Elokecha Mitzavecha Hayoim La'aseh Zizachukim Ha'ela. Rak Oisayim La'yeh L'Mashal Klal. He knows if the person that can't do it, he can't say Machar. Karoi, V'kiyotzi B'zeh B'shara Avoidus, and it's the same way when it comes to other ways, serving HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shara Avoidus. Ki ein la'adam ba'ilomai kim oisay hayoim. A person has in his day today. This is the day. Chazal teach us this. I have to live today. What do we say in Kriya Shema? We also say Mitzavacha hayoim al levavecha. Today, I have it today. Because really all I have is today. All I have is today, and I have this hour today. That's all I have. Because tomorrow is another world. Tomorrow is another world. You know, every night we go to sleep, and it's a din in Shulchan Aruch that every night you're supposed to make a din v'cheshbon. Why? Because you're sending up that chelik al neshama. You're sending up your chelik al neshama. That chelik al neshama that you had today, is going to go back to Shemayim, and it's not coming back here again. You'll get another chelik of your neshama tomorrow. It's only here today. So what do I do with my chelik al neshama that I have today? I need to take care of it. It's something totally different. It's something totally different. We say the brachas every day. Shelo yasani goy, shelo yasani ovet, shelo yasani isha. Let me ask you a question. Are you allowed to make a bracha levatola? Are we allowed to make bracha levatola? Are we allowed to make a bracha for naught? No. So why are we making every day Shelo Yasani Isha, Shelo Yasani Oven, Shelo Yasani Goy? Hey, wait a minute. If I wasn't a Goy yesterday, how can I be a Goy today? So if I made the bracha Shelo Yasani Goy yesterday, why do I need to make it again today? Rabbi Yehuda, did you ever hear this question? Did you ever hear this question? How do you make if the person's he wasn't a guy yesterday? Why is he going to be a guy today? I'm not going to tell you the thing about the Isha because today that changes. Unfortunately, today people change. But okay, but you understand what I'm saying. I'm not talking about today. Lamaisa, regular normal guy, a normal guy. If he wasn't a woman yesterday, how can he be a woman today? Or the lady was kiritzoy yesterday, how she's not a man today? Unlike, normal people. Elamai, you said in davening before, Hamachadesh betuvai b'chol yoim tamid ma'aseh bereishis. What does that mean? Hamachadesh betuvai b'chol yoim tamid ma'aseh bereishis. Yoim tamid, that means every single day. The HaKadosh Baruch Hu recreates the world. And every single day we're a Bria Chadasha. That's what the Rebbe is saying. It's something totally different. And if I wasn't a new person today, how can I make that bracha again? Why am I making Birchas HaTorah again? Why? Hey, I made the bracha Birchas HaTorah. I accepted the Torah. I made Birchas. Why am I making it again today? Why am I making it? Because I have to remember, Hayoim. Chazal said we lost the Beis HaMikdash because we weren't making the Birchas HaTorah. We weren't making Birchas HaTorah. What is that? What does that mean? We weren't making Birchas HaTorah. We weren't following this idea of Hayoim. We weren't new people all the time. That's what it means. And getting ready for Rosh Hashanah, getting ready for Aseret Yemei Tshuva, for Yom Kippur. This is such an important principle to realize. I'm not the same guy as I was yesterday. I'm not the same guy as I was 5 minutes ago. Especially when we come to Rosh Hashanah. We come to Rosh Hashanah, we daven the last mincha. We daven the last mincha of the year. We daven that last mincha of the year before we take in Rosh Hashanah. We're saying goodbye to Tafshin Pei Hey, and we're going to be welcoming in Tafshin Pei Vav. Right? That's what we do on Rosh Hashanah night. We welcome in the next year. We're welcoming in the next year. We become a new people. You become a Bria Chadasha. You become a new person. It's a new year, a new person. A new year, a new person. Listen, let's talk about Rosh Hashanah for a minute. Okay, let's talk about Rosh Hashanah. So there's a custom that we say on the first night of Rosh Hashanah, L'shana Tova Tikasei V'Sheichasei La'alta L'Chaim Tov V'L'Shalom V'Kisvam B'Sifran Sel Tzadikim Amitiyim. Now the questions asked in Shulchan Aruch and the Taz and others, do you say this also the second night? Do you say it the second night? It's a question in Shulchan Aruch. We don't say it the second night. Why? Because it says that really the tzaddikim are nechtav v'nechtam on the first night of Rosh Hashanah. They're signed and sealed. Their fate for the year, their good tiding for the year is done already on the first night. It's amazing. It's mamish amazing. It's mamish amazing. So we know that if you would say it to the person on the next night, what are you doing? Oh, you were in a tzaddik. So therefore, maybe you were in judge yesterday. And that's why Shulchan Aruch says you don't say it, the second night. Even though the Rosh Hashanah is not 2 days. People think it's 2 days. Rosh Hashanah, the Gemara calls it the Yom HaRichta. It's a long day. Yom HaRichta. It's one long day. It's a Yom HaRichta. There's a very big important minhag that we have in Breslov, and many people have this minhag. They make a tainas dibur. On the first day of Rosh Hashanah. Why? Because that's known as the Dina Kashya. That's known as the harsh judgment. The first day of Rosh Hashanah is the harsh judgment. The second day of Rosh Hashanah is known as the Dina de Rafia. It's the weekend. It's the lighter judgment. So a lot of people won't speak. They'll only daven. They'll talk to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, of course, but they won't speak. They won't speak because again, you have to be very careful You're being judged. It's the harsh judgment. So I have to be careful. I'm not speaking silliness. Things of Mabakach. I don't want to speak silly things. So if a person takes that on, it's a very, very noble thing to do. It's a very, very noble thing to do. Again, to understand that. And again, to understand when we're standing by the shofar, right before the shofar, how special that is, how special the psukim that we say, and how special the shofar is. How HaKadosh Baruch Hu uses the shofar and it pushes away all the din. The blowing of the shofar pushes away everything. It blows away the sitra achar. He blows them away, the satan, the malach hamavas. It blows them away. To realize that it's a very, very special time to have thoughts to becoming close to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Think of closeness to Hashem. I want to be closer to you, Hashem. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing to do. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing. Okay, and then we have, you know, the whole idea we were learning in the morning. Let's just review for 2 minutes the idea that we dip the challah in the honey, right? We dip the challah in the honey, right? So I just want to mention one thing over here, which is very important. The word shofar, right, is divided up into 2 parts. The shin vav, and then this pei reish. Shin vav is 306. 306. Shin vav. The gematria of Devash is also 306. The gematria of Isha is also 306. Pei reish is the gematria of Menatzbach. We have the end letters. We have the end letters of the alphabet, of the Hebrew alphabet, the end letters. They add up to 280. If you add them up, you'll see that 280. All endings are considered din. The ending of something, that's din. So we take the shofar, which is the shin vav, which is the same as the devash, right? And the person has to take the shofar in his hand, right? The halach is he has to have it in his yad. Why does it have to be in his yad? He can't place the shofar on the table. He can't place the shofar on the table and blow the shofar on the table. He has to hold it in his hand. Why is that? You take 306 and you take yad. Yad is 14. Yad is not just 14 because it's 14. Yud and Dalet is 14. But you know you have 14 joints in your hand also, right? You have 14 joints, right? Each of your 4 fingers has 3 joints. That's 4 times 3 is 12. And your thumb has 2 joints. That's 14. If you take 306 and add it to 14, you get to 320. That's tikkun. That's the gematria. That's the magical number the Arizal teaches. That's the magical number that brings us tikkun. That's the magical number. We take the challah, which is chesed, and we dip the challah into the honey. Honey is the source of all sweetness of the world. Everything sweet in the world, the source of sweetness comes from honey, dvash. All tastes are tastes that are connected to bread. In bread, you could taste anything. The same way when we had the man, we were able to taste anything that you wanted if you believed it. So too when we eat our bread, right? So we take the bread, which is in the pasuk in Devarim in Parshas Eikev, which is Perek Ches pasuk Ches. It lists the 7 species of Eretz Yisrael. The first one on the list is Eretz Chita Usa'ira Te'ena. Right? These are the first. The first one is Chita. Chita is wheat. Is what we make the bread from. The last one, there's another eretz in the pasuk where it says Zeit Shemen Udvash. So the last of the 7 is Dvash, which is honey, which means it's really the date. You take the first one, you take which is the chita, the wheat, and you dip it into the honey, which is connecting worlds again together. I'm taking the highest and I'm bringing it into the lowest, making tikkun. And this is the whole point. Okay. Next week we're not going to be able to meet. We're not going to be able to meet after the week of the next week. It'll be Erev Yom Kippur, and then it'll be Sukkot. So it'll be a little bit while till we meet again. Okay, so that's why I wanted to bring in something from Rosh Hashanah. And Mitzvah Hashem, if we have an opportunity to meet before, we will. Maybe we'll be able to make a class on another day, getting ready for Sukkot, the Daled Minim, and all of that. But meanwhile, I want to wish everyone a beautiful Shabbos, and realize how precious every moment of the Shabbos is. The Svarim say, the Kaf HaChaim and others bring down that every hour you learn on Shabbos, it's worth 1,000 hours. How do you like that? Learn an hour of Torah on Shabbos, you get credit for 1,000 hours. Not bad, right? Not bad. Right? Not bad. You learn 1 hour, you get 1,000 hours for 1 hour. Pretty good. It's the same thing with Elul. Every moment is so precious. Let's chaperein. Let's take in as much as we can. And we should all have a ksiva, v'chasima, toiva. We should all have a good kibbutz shtior. And all of the listeners, all of our listeners around the world. And we should always remember HaKadosh Baruch Hu and be connected to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And we'll see big Yeshuas with the coming of Mashiach, B'kara, V'yameinu Mamish. And we'll all come to Eretz Yisrael together, and all the worries that the Jews have all around the world. Those Jews that are in London have their daigas. Now the Jews in New York City are having their daigas. The Jews in Paris have their daigas. All Jews all around the world are having their daigas, right? And we all remember, like we said, when it comes to this state, to a stage that we realize is Ein Lanu Mila Sho'ein Elo Avinu Shebashamayim. Mashiach will come. We'll all come together to Eretz Yisrael. We should all be well. Kol Tov, everybody.